The Gulf of Mexico Energy Security Act is the only recurring source of federal revenue that the coastal program receives. It's a revenue stream that we've anticipated for a long time, and it's a revenue stream that we have largely planned our efforts around. And in recent discussions with the federal government, we have gotten a little bit more clarity on the amount of money that we will be receiving from that revenue stream in the next fiscal year. So keep in mind, the maximum that the state could receive is $140 million. And based upon the most recent updates, we are only looking at about half of that coming to the state in fiscal year 19, which will be used to implement some priority projects in the Coastal Master Plan. So not very encouraging news. We had anticipated a much larger source of revenue coming from GOMESA, but the Department of Interior has given us a range which equates to about half of that maximum allowable amount.
So in putting together the 2019 budget, are you going to be looking for additional revenue sources to take the place of part of that, or are you going to have to winnow down what you can actually do?
Well, I think we've got to take a hard look at the priorities that we have for the next fiscal year, some of the projects that are in the queue for funding, and there may be some scaling back that has to be done based upon the reduction in revenues. But if we see that there's additional funding that's left over from cost savings from other projects that we can pull from, we would certainly go that route first rather than scaling back. But I think we've got to rationalize some of the priorities and the projects that we have in the hopper for the next fiscal year and how that overlays with the reduction in revenue.
And in future years, I'm assuming that there's still some potential for growth with GOMESA?
There is. So keep in mind that phase one of GOMESA, which was 2007 to 2017, only accounted for new leases. And it takes about 10 years for a new lease to begin coming online and producing material. So we think that some of these leases, due to the moratorium that was enacted after the BP oil spill, may have some influence on the production levels that are coming from outer continental shelf oil and gas production. So we're very hopeful that as these new leases come online, that number could significantly increase in the next several years.
And I'm also assuming that with this smaller number that we're talking about, that the state's going to have to look to the capital budget for money to pay back its share of the New Orleans levy system if it's unable to reach an agreement with the federal government to hold off on billing us for that?
Yep, sure. So once the hurricane protection system around the greater New Orleans area is officially turned over to the state is then on the hook for about $100 million a year to pay back the state's cost share for the construction of that system. So due to the situation that the state budget is in, we've been instructed to look for all sources of revenue that are available to pay back that cost share. With the reduction in GOMESA revenues, I think that calls into question the ability for us to use GOMESA for that payback. But I will say that the agreement that is in place with the federal government on that payback, it does not specify that this is a CPRA debt. This is a state of Louisiana debt. So you could see capital outlay, the capital budget being tapped to pay back the state's cost share on the hurricane protection system.
Okay. And the first payment for the East Bank, do you know when that's due? It's
whenever the Corps of Engineers formally turns over the system. The system was supposed to be completed in 2011. Here we are in 2017. They are still constructing certain segments of the thing. I think for the most part it's fully constructed, but I think that there's some finishing touches that need to be put on this thing before it is formally turned over from the state. So keep in mind, it was supposed to be turned over in 2011. Here we are in 2017. It's not completed. All the while, interest is still accruing on that payback amount that the state of Louisiana is on the hook for.